Good morning, all. This is Tammy Lowe, the Lazy Northern Gardener. Wanted to share a couple things with you today. The first thing is these gorgeous rose tomatoes. They're called rose tomatoes. And it's hard to pick up the color, but they are like a beautiful, like a rose color, like a pinkish kind of color. They're not real bright red orange, but they're more, they've got a different kind of hue, which is really nice, because it's funny, I had put a bunch on the counter, and when they ripened on the counter, I thought, it didn't do very well, because they're on the counter. I thought they're in a strange, they're a strange color because I ripened them inside instead of outside. But no, that's the actual color they're supposed to be, so they're kind of cool. So I am gathering these now. We were out of town visiting the kids for about 5 days, and I'm going to write up an article, a blog post about how you can go away for a couple days at least from the garden. You can leave the garden, but there's some things that you're going to have to do first. And so while I was out here, I figured I wanted to show you these rose tomatoes because I was picking some on the other side, and you can see them better. So I'll walk around here. These are my raised kitchen garden beds, 4x4. And I've been growing tomatoes and cucumbers and eggplant right now, okra. Just some good stuff. So here's some more of those rose tomatoes. And then I'm going to show you the rose tomato up against the Amish paste tomato for color comparison. This is Amish paste. I don't know if you can tell. Let's see. Much brighter red. Darn, it's hard to see if I put it in this shade. Much brighter red on the left-hand side right here. This is the rose tomato. No, this is the Amish paste tomato. This is the rose tomato. Can you tell the differences in the color? A shadow one maybe. Can you see that? It's really beautiful. And here's another Amish paste tomato. And got some more rose tomatoes over here. I could really see the color from here when I was gathering. That's why I thought, I should show you guys. Versus Amish paste. Very orange. Yellow orange, and then they turn that deeper. Here's the Amish paste, very deep, like red orange, compared to the rose tomato. So they're just now ripening because they were green when I left, and which is cool. I like that. So people a lot of times say, well, I can't go out of town because of my garden. I don't know what to do. I need a garden sitter, whatever it might be. And I never get to leave town during the summertime like I'd like to, because when I come back, things are all falling apart. Oops. Oh, I got a little guy with a big one. So be it. Got a lot of holes at the bottom, though. So I'm going to have to check that out and make sure there's no bugs in there. So there are people that, they want to leave town. They feel like they can't unless they get a garden sitter to weed or water or whatever it might be. But before I left town, and we had gone to Arkansas for 5 days to visit one of my children and my new daughter-in-law, but a new daughter, in Arkansas for 5 days. So we left on a Thursday. We came home on late last night, Monday. I don't like to twist these off. I think you can. I like to cut them. Another Amish paste tomato. So, one of the tips is that before you're going to leave for anywhere, like if I was going to leave tomorrow, I am going to go and harvest everything that is ripe. That one fell. That is ripe or is real close to ripe or starting to ripen. Like if these just started having color, I would harvest that as well and then bring it inside. So all of those, if I don't have time to can them or freeze them, even this one here that's starting to get a little bit like we like it, I would actually bring that inside, cut it, bring it inside. And if I can't can or freeze things right away, no, that's not going to work, then I would put them in the refrigerator until I got back, depending on how long I'll be gone. Uh-oh. There. That's one thing. The second thing that has worked for me so far, which I'm not going to show you right now, but it worked for me in the backyard real well, is I would mulch as much as possible, especially in bare places. I would have been pulling out the anything that is dead, diseased. Just get that out of your hair before you go, so you know when you come back, you're not going to have to deal with that, and it's not going to spread. So, for example, if I was leaving tomorrow, there's a lot of leaves right now that I'm coming back to that have really diseased leaves. I would have cut all those off before I left if I was leaving for a vacation tomorrow or somewhere that I have to go out of town tomorrow. All right. So harvest everything that's ripe or near ripe. Cut everything out that is dead or diseased before you leave. Then mulch like crazy. And definitely mulch. These trucks are loud, of course. Definitely mulch anything that is bare. I have bare spots in here, but about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I mulched it real heavily with compost. There's about 2-3 inches of composted manure that I put on the tops of this. So I don't have a lot of weed pressure now that I come back to, which is nice. Can't cut and hold the camera at the same time. I'm not that talented. So I'm going to harvest those, but I haven't done it yet. Another thing I would do besides the mulching and the pulling everything that could be dead or diseased and harvesting and either canning or freezing or putting them in the fridge is I would water deeply. Whether or not it's going to rain, whether it's in the forecast, I would water pretty well, because weather forecasts can change and your plants are going to be less stressed when they have decent water and they're covered with mulch and the weed pressure is gone and the disease pressure is gone. And especially if you mulch with compost, you are going to be giving them the vitamins that they need to fight off their own issues. You're actually building the immune system of the plants. I know it sounds woo-woo, but they do have immune systems and they can fight things off better when they're healthier. They can be healthier when they can fight things off, and if we give them the right environment. Oh, those eggplants are pretty. I have to pull those out too. They can do better for themselves as well. So we're going to pull dead things. We're going to mulch like crazy, especially bare spots. We're going to harvest. We're going to compost manure if we can. We're going to water deeply. And for the garden, the other part is you're going to want to make sure everything is staked really well in case there's weather issues when you leave. You know, when you're not here, when you're not around. So like that branch there, if I was going to leave tomorrow, I'd want to make sure I've woven it in or fastened it to this trellis. Before I left for this last trip, I did prune these leaves quite a bit on both sides so the air could move through it and not be pressing against the leaves than pressing against the trellis. So that was one thing that was pretty important. One branch I did miss before I left the last week was this one up here. It's so heavy, it's falling over here. One reason I left it is because our winds come this way. They come from the west usually and go this way. So if this one's already down, I wasn't that concerned about it. And to be honest, the other part is I forgot to put it up. It was on my list. I had a lot of lists of things to do. So you can see these branches, they've been blown this way by the wind and then kind of pulled down by the weight of the tomatoes. I would probably take those and put them sideways and fasten them to the trellis a little bit better. Before I left, I knew that the two sides have met already. So maybe I would either prune those tops off or I might fasten them to the trellis a little bit better. So those are some of the things you can do before you're going to go on vacation. And obviously if you've got animals, you're going to have to get a poultry or a farm sitter, dog sitter, cat sitter, top off their food and waters, make sure they're good to go. The other part of me leaving this right now, I might move it, but I kind of like it right now, is it's providing shade to the soil. And so it's cooling the soil as well. So I kind of like that. A lot of times I'll do something accidentally and then I'll justify it. I'm like, oh, well, that's because of this. I had harvested all the okra before I left. This guy grew in like the 5 days. It was this size. They grow really fast. And he grew this size, which actually is more than 2 to 3 inches. There, it's in the camera, yeah. So it's probably going to be woody. That means it's going to have like these pieces of like, it's not wood, but it's like, it feels like sharp. It feels like sharp sticks when you go to eat it. You slice them crossways, and when you go to eat it, it's going to be the pieces that are not as tasty, not tender and tasty. So this one, when I take it off, I'll probably just discard it, put it in the compost pile or something. Now, if you have produce going and you have a good neighbor that wants to come over and pick your produce while you're gone, please, please, please do that. If you're like, I can't harvest everything and use it all or store it all before I leave, well, then talk to your neighbors or your family or your friends and see, do they want to come over and pick stuff while you're gone? There's nothing wrong with that. So far, those are all the tomatoes I've gotten harvested. And these were not ripe. These were not even turning when I left 5 days ago. And they are now. I could probably get these peppers as well. There's a bunch of them. And they're kind of cute. They look like carrot color. So I could get them. Oh, and they're starting to get the wrinkles on them that make them taste even better. So I could take those up. But mostly, I wanted to film and show you the rose tomatoes because I think they're really cool. So that's about it, and I hope you guys have a great Tuesday. It's a short work week, guys. Woo woo! And I will chat with you later. This is Tammy Lowe, the Northern Gardener, Lazy Northern Gardener. I'm saying learn and grow.